Here's the shocking, sordid inside story of the filthy narcotics racket, and here are some of the people trapped in its ugly slavery. Bruce, the desperate boy who thought he could quit any time and discovered too late that he had sold his soul to the devil. Louise, the broken-hearted girl who loves Bruce and must stand aside helplessly while he destroys himself. Bill Neal, the bewildered coach who is horrified at the sight of his star athlete coming apart at the seams. Mel Presser, special agent of the Bureau of Narcotics, who knows all too well the torments Bruce must endure and is powerless to stop him. Manny, the vicious, brutal, murderous pusher who enslaves his victims quickly and then kills them off slowly, but surely. Rex Morgan exposes the teenage dope slaves. Bruce, you've got to stop this now, before it's too late. Please, I'll get the money somehow. Somehow don't count. Cash on the line, sucker, or no shot. Nurse June Gale is alone in Dr. Morgan's office one day when... Who are you? What do you want? Relax, sister. We'll tell you in a minute. Why are you wearing handkerchiefs over your faces? We forgot our sterile masks. Yeah, we're like doctors. We wear masks when we operate. Doo-doo-doo. Who's coming? Dr. Morgan, and you'd better get out of here. Take care of the sawbones. Nice work. Now go through that medical bag. I'm going to let go of you, but no noise or you'll get the same as he got. Don't touch that bag until you put on your gloves. That's right. I almost forgot. Look, Manny, only 6 tablets. And that'll teach you not to forget something else. Never call me by name. All this for 6 lousy tablets. Maybe the dame can tell us where he has a bigger supply. What about it, Nursey? Where does the doc keep his narcotics? Dr. Morgan never has more than a few tablets on hand for emergencies. You'd better not be lying to me, sister. The doc's waking up. Shall I anesthetize him again? How do you feel, Rex? Like I've been hit by a train. I can't find any more. Okay, let's get out of here. Stay where you are for at least 10 minutes. Are you all right, Rex? I think so, although my head feels like a bass drum is pounding inside of it. You'd better call the police, June. We'll also have to report this to the Narcotics Bureau. That trip to the doc's office was hardly worthwhile, was it, Manny? It was very worthwhile. It proved what I say. You've got to depend on me if you want to keep getting your supply. Later. I'm Mel Presser, Dr. Morgan, agent in charge, Bureau of Narcotics. I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Presser. I understand that 2 masked men enter your office, Doctor. Can you give me the details? I'm afraid I can't tell you too much. I was blackjacked as I walked in this morning. Miss Gale can tell you what happened, however. Can you describe the men, Miss Gale? Not too well. They both wore handkerchiefs over their faces. But wait, there was one thing I did notice. What special thing did you notice about the 2 men, Miss Gale? One was considerably older than the other. The younger one also made the mistake of calling the older man by name, for which he was struck across the face. Do you remember the name? It was Manny. Does that mean anything? No. The name means nothing, but the incident takes on a much more serious aspect than I had expected. The average doctor carries little if any narcotics, Mr. Presser. Why would a dope addict or peddler attempt to break into a doctor's office? That's what makes me feel that this incident is more serious than I first anticipated. When Miss Gale told me one of the hoodlums was a young man and the other an older one, I figured there was a more sinister purpose than to obtain what little narcotics you had. What other purpose could there be? I would judge the experienced peddler was trying to prove that he was the only source for the young addict's narcotic supply. If anything else turns up, you can always reach me at the Federal Building, Bureau of Narcotics. Thanks, Mr. Presser. I hope I won't need your services again. Do you feel well enough to work today, Rex? Yes, I'm okay except for a slight headache. Meanwhile... Can I see you a minute, Manny? What's on your mind, kid? I'd like to see you alone, Manny. Could you let me have a couple of capsules, Manny? Sure. Get some dough and I can let you have 2 or 10 or even 20. I'll pay you tomorrow. It's not that I don't trust you, Brucey, but it's going to be just as hard to pay for them tomorrow as it is today. I've got to have some today. Now! I'll tell you what I'll do. Here, I'll give you this stuff you histed from the doc's office. Try to get by on it until you can get some dough to buy a real kick. Thanks, Manny. Thanks. But how do I use it? Go ahead. Take the weeds, Bruce. I'm giving them to you. For your girl. I don't think I should let her get started. She's a nice girl, Manny. Sure, you're a nice kid too, and you ought to do things together. What's the matter, kid? I've got the bends. I'm overdue on the needle. How are you feeling now, Brucey? Better, Manny. I needed it bad. Thanks for the capsule. I didn't give it to you. You owe me $2. 2? You've only been charging $1.50. Sorry, kid. The price has gone up. And remember, from now on, it's cash on the line. And soon after. You're late, Bruce. Sorry, Louise. I was delayed. Did you have a tough time getting out tonight? Not too tough. Daddy wanted to know who I was going out with. And of course, I lied. It's not that he doesn't like you, Bruce. It's just that he doesn't understand you. Doesn't understand why you dropped off the squad. I've told you before, Louise. There are more important things than being a football star at State. Hi, Louise. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Bert. Jenny. State just barely won today. I'm afraid your dad's in for a rough season, Louise. Dad's been coaching for 20 years. He's had rough seasons before at State. Possibly you haven't heard, darling, but the talk's around that this is his last year unless he has a winning team. Come on, Louise, let's get out of here. Meanwhile... Phone for you, Dr. Morgan. Who is it, June? Someone you'll be happy to hear from. Who? Why, Bill, it's good to hear from you. Can I see you, Rex, right away? I've just finished my office hours. Come right over, Bill. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Is there anything wrong, Rex? I don't know. It was Bill Neal, my old coach at State. He sounded worried. And a few minutes later, how's my favorite nurse? Fine. And how's my favorite coach? Coach, it's wonderful to see you. It's good to see you, Rex. You look as trim as you did in 35 when you led State to an unbeaten season. I'll leave you two alone so you can recall old nostalgias. Okay, June, I promise not to try to get Rex back into a football uniform. How's Louise? It's been 5 years since I've seen her, Bill. You wouldn't recognize her, Rex. She's a young woman now, a beautiful woman. Reminds me more and more of her mother. It's about Louise that I came to see you, Rex. I'm worried, terribly worried. And even as Coach Neal speaks, come on, Louise, let's get out of here. What's wrong? Did I say something I shouldn't? I can't stand your catty friends. But what she said is true, Bruce. This is Dad's last year at State, unless he has a winning team. Are you sure it's not the job that's getting you down, Coach? No, Rex. It's not the job, it's my daughter. Last spring, my daughter Louise met a young chap by the name of Bruce Grayson. Is he the fellow who was written up as such a terrific varsity prospect for this fall? Yes, I've never seen a greater natural, Rex. He could do anything on the football field, a coach's dream. I built my State team around him, and then I had to throw him off the squad. What happened, Bill? I wish I knew. His whole personality seemed to change. Almost overnight, he became unreliable, fearful, argumentative. I told Louise she should not see him again. But I know she has, and I'm afraid. Terribly afraid. There's something I want to talk about, Bruce. Yes? Why have you been cutting so many classes? You missed 2 math lectures this week. What are you doing, Louise? Checking up on me? Yes. I have a right to, haven't I, Bruce? Bruce, what's wrong? Why did you stop the car, Bruce? What's wrong with you? I'll be all right. But get behind the wheel. Drive me over to Manny's place. Hurry! Hadn't I better drive you to a doctor's office? No. No, get me to Manny. Shall I come in with you? No. Wait in the car. But I've got to have some money. Can you let me have a few dollars, Louise? I only have $6, Bruce. Is that enough? Yes. That's fine. That's all I need for now. I've got to see Manny right away. Where is he? Out? Be back in a few minutes. I can't wait. I've got to get a hold of him. Quick! Go in the back. I'll try to locate him. Oh. What's the matter, kid? Ain't the stuff holding you like it should? I've got to have some. Right away. Sure, kid. You can have some, if you get some money. Here, take all of it. $6. Where'd you get the dough? You were broke a few hours ago. What's the difference? Give me a couple of capsules. Quick! At this rate it's going to cost $10, $12 a day to keep you happy. I'll get the money. Somehow. Meanwhile, are you sure Louise is continuing to see Bruce? Yes, Rex. Although she tells me she isn't. This is the first time Louise has ever lied to me. Would it help if I had a talk with her? I don't know. Feel better now, Brucey? Yes. Just a minute, kid. Maybe we should have a little talk. Somehow don't mean much when you need the stuff right away. And I told you before, you gotta have the dough if you want the stuff. Any suggestions, Manny? I got a couple of friends. Maybe they can use you for some of their special work. Just what would that be? Let's face it, kid, you're in no position to ask questions. All you gotta do is find a way to make some money easy and quick. You forgot this, kid, and you might need it again. Why don't you try cutting down on this stuff, Brucey? It's getting pretty expensive. Let me worry about that, Manny. Besides, I can cut down anytime I want to. Sure you can, kid. You're different. You got willpower. You don't think I can cut down on the stuff, do you, Manny? Sure you can. Anybody can. 5 minutes after they take their last shot, well, I'm not only cutting down, I'm quitting. Then I won't be seeing you again, will I, kid? No, I don't ever want to see your slimy face again. What happened to the punk, Manny? He just told me he don't want to see my slimy face again. But he'll be back, crawling. Are you all right, Bruce? I was worried about you. I'm all right, Louise, and you'll never have to worry about me again. Meanwhile, I still think you're more concerned about Louise than you need to be, Coach. Perhaps, Rex, but I'll still expect you over to dinner tomorrow night. I want you to have a talk with Louise. And the next day, see you later, Dad. I'm almost late for class. I've asked an old friend over for dinner tonight. Feel up to cooking one of your deluxe meals? Sure. Who is it? Dr. Rex Morgan. Remember him? Certainly, but we haven't seen him for years. How did you happen to run into him? Oh, I saw him downtown. Thought it would seem like old times having Rex in for dinner. Will I be seeing you tonight, Louise? I don't think so, Bruce. Dr. Morgan is coming over for dinner. Dr. Morgan? Yes, you sound as though you know him. No, I never heard of him. That evening. You're just as good a cook as your mother was, Louise. Thank you, Dr. Morgan. That's a real compliment. Meanwhile, it's starting again. I'm not going to take any more if it kills me. But I can't stand this pain. I can't. I mustn't take any more of that stuff. I mustn't. Maybe if I called Manny for just one small dose. Call for you, Manny. Who? Oh, it's you. I thought you weren't going to get in touch with me again. I'm in bad shape, Manny. I need a capsule. You forget, kid. You got willpower. You can get along without seeing my slimy face, remember? I didn't mean what I said, Manny. I'm sorry. So you're sorry. Well, it's too late now. Wait, Manny, don't hang up. Oh, those tablets we stole from the doc's office. Here they are. If I could just be sure how much would be a safe dose. These tablets we got from Dr. Morgan's office. Maybe they can give me some relief. Each tablet, a quarter grain. I wonder how many I can take safely. I've got to get relief. I've got to take a chance. These tablets are small. I ought to be able to take 3 or 4 of them. My hand's so shaky, I can't hit the vein. The stuff's working. I'm beginning to feel better already. I can't study. I'll call Louise. There's the phone. I'll get it. No, Dad, please. I'll see who it is. Hello, Louise, can you talk? Dad and Dr. Morgan are in the next room, Bruce. I'll have to whisper. Where are you? In my room. Couldn't study. Thought I'd call you. Thought I'd call. I can't hear you, Bruce. Bruce! 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 Talk louder! Bruce, can you hear me? Please! Answer me! Please, Bruce, talk to me. What's wrong? What is it, Louise? It's Bruce. He was on the phone, and suddenly he stopped talking. I'm telling you for the last time, Louise, I don't want you to have anything to do with Bruce Grayson. I don't want you to see or talk to Bruce Grayson again, Louise. Do you understand me? But Dad, I'm afraid something's happened to him. Louise. Let her go ahead, Bill. She's terribly upset. The phone's dead. I can't dial out. Tell me exactly what happened, Louise. Bruce called me and suddenly his voice seemed to fade away. I've tried to call him back, but I can't get the dial tone. Your friend didn't hang up for some reason. But why, Dr. Morgan? It's not like Bruce to play tricks. Let's forget about it. You're tired. Go on upstairs and get some sleep. But Dad, you don't understand. I'm worried about Bruce. I've been worried about him for weeks. How do you mean that? I don't know. but there's something wrong with him. I don't know how to explain it. Would you feel better if we drove over to see him? Oh, yes, Dr. Morgan. Could we? How about it, Bill? Frankly, I'd rather you didn't. This is as good a time as any for Louise to come to her senses and forget she ever knew Bruce Grayson. Bruce Grayson is no good to you, himself, or anyone else, Louise. May I see you alone for a moment, Bill? Your daughter is worried and confused, Coach. She needs your help, not your reprimands. I've never reprimanded her before, Rex, and I'm beginning to think that's where I made my mistake. Meanwhile, no, Manny, the Grayson punk ain't been in. Well, he will be. He's gotta be. He can't go over 6 hours without a lift. I know you're doing what you think is best for Louise, Coach, but you're only driving her away from you at a time when she needs your help. Was that the front door? Louise! Louise is probably going over to see Bruce. Do you know where he lives, Bill? Yes, and it's going to be a long time before she hears the end of this incident. Wait a minute, Coach. I'll drive you over, provided you promise to keep your head. All right, Rex, but let's hurry. Meanwhile, still no word from Grayson, Manny? No, get your coat. Maybe you and me better go pay him a visit. Please, I'd like to see Mr. Grayson. We don't permit women visitors. Besides, all decent people should be asleep at this hour. You'll have to wait until morning to see Mr. Grayson, and when you do, tell him he'd better pay his back rent. But wait. You should have had more sense than to come here, Louise. Something's wrong with Bruce, Dad, and his landlady won't let me see him. This is no hour to be seeing anyone. Come on home. You can call him in the morning. Don't you understand? I've got to see him now. I've got to know what's wrong. It wouldn't hurt if we saw Bruce for a moment, Bill. Louise would feel better about it. All right, but just for a moment. Now what? I'm a doctor. We'd like to see Mr. Grayson. We have reason to believe he may not be well. Can't you see him in the morning? He's probably asleep anyway. I don't like to impose upon you, but it's quite important that we see Bruce Grayson. Well, you're imposing, waking people up at this hour. I should have kicked Grayson out of here 6 weeks ago when he stopped paying his rent. Has he always been slow in making his payments? I don't know what he does with his money. He used to have his rent on time, but for the last couple of months he's been different, in many ways. That's Bruce Grayson's room at the head of the stairs. It looks like his light's still on. He must be studying. Well, if he is, it's the first time he has in a long while. He doesn't answer. Do you have a pass key? It won't go in. It's locked from the inside. Give me a hand, Bill. I'll see if I can see anything. Oh, we've got to break in the door, and in a hurry. We've got to get in, and quick, Bill. Bruce, no! No! What happened to him, Dr. Morgan? I don't know. He's still alive, but barely. Bill, go down to my car and get my medical bag. Get on the phone, Louise. Have City Hospital send an ambulance with oxygen. Huh. What's that, Rex? A narcotics vial. The same kind that was stolen from my office. We'll pay this Grayson kid a visit. I gotta find out why he didn't get in for his stuff. Are you sure you got him where he can't get along without it, Manny? Don't worry. I have him fixed right. He can't go more than 6 hours without a lift. There's his place now. Wait, is that an ambulance pulling up there? We'd better wait here until that ambulance leaves. You don't suppose they're picking up the Grayson kid? No, it couldn't. Here they come now. It is him, Manny. It's the Grayson kid. Be quiet. They'll hear you. Wonder what happened. Let's get out of here, you lunkhead, before you have them asking us questions. Drive back to the joint. I gotta think. What you gotta think about? How we can get into the city hospital and see the punk before that sawbones gets him awake and talking. At City Hospital, are the stimulants ready for injection? Yes, Dr. Morgan. I have the tray set up. Wheel in the emergency oxygen tank. How is he, Dr. Morgan? Not good. He hasn't shown any signs of arousing. He's not responding. I'm going to try some artificial respiration. Hold the oxygen mask over his face while I do. Did you suspect that Bruce was taking narcotics, Louise? I don't know. All I knew is that he wasn't himself. I knew that something was wrong, that he was sick. Why didn't you come to me and tell me? I tried to, Dad, but the very mention of Bruce's name sent you into a rage. Oh, Dad, I love him. Don't you understand? Yes, darling, I understand. Meanwhile, why do you want to go over to City Hospital to see the Grayson kid, Manny? Don't you have any brains in that thick skull of yours? If Morgan pulls the punk out of that sleep and he starts talking, we're gonna have to fade, but fast. And I got too good a business going to let one lousy punk spoil it. What'll we do then, Manny? One of these capsules used to give Brucey a lift for a few hours. 6 of them will drop him for good. Will he require any more oxygen, Dr. Morgan? No. We'll also discontinue the stimulants. How is Bruce, Rex? All right, for the moment. For the moment? Yes, Louise, because his next 10 days are going to be the most difficult he's ever had to face in his life. I don't understand, Dr. Morgan. Why are Bruce's next 10 days going to be such a nightmare? He's a narcotics addict, Louise. I'm going to have to start him on a withdrawal program. He'll go through much torture as we teach his body to get along without narcotics once again. Meanwhile, in the hospital lobby, Mr. Grayson is off the critical list, but you can't visit him at this hour of the morning. I'm a very close friend. I'd feel so much better if I could just take a little peek at him. I'd only spend a minute with Mr. Grayson. I don't think I could sleep if I didn't see for myself that Bruce was all right. I understand. I don't suppose it would hurt if you went up for a minute. He's on the 5th floor. Take this note to the nurse in charge, and she'll let you see Mr. Grayson. You don't know how much this means to me. You'd better take Louise home, Bill. I'm sure she'll be able to sleep now that she knows Bruce is all right. Are you sure there's nothing more we can do, Rex? Nothing, Bill. I'll be going home too as soon as I call the federal narcotics agent. The narcotics vial found in Bruce's room was the only one stolen from my office. Do you feel Bruce was involved in the theft? I don't know, but under the influence of dope, a person can do anything. And Bruce is a dope addict. I'm sorry to call you at this hour, Mel, but I thought you'd want to know right away. I'm glad you called, Rex. Who's with the boy now? Bruce is all right. The floor nurses are watching you. That's not enough. Make sure no one visits him. I'll have a 24-hour police guard placed over him within the next hour. Meanwhile, this is rather irregular to be visiting a patient at 5 o'clock in the morning, but if the night supervisor says you can, I guess it's all right. I promise we won't even wake him. How's the Grayson boy? Sleeping like a baby. I thought you had gone home for some sleep too, Dr. Morgan. I intend to, but I wanted to check once more before I left. We've been charting his pulse and respirations every 15 minutes. I'll check them again as soon as his visitors leave. What's wrong, Dr. Morgan? They said they'd only be with him for a couple of minutes. And upstairs. Have you got the needle fixed yet, Manny? Just about. I'll dissolve one more capsule for good luck. What's wrong with you? You look like you're gonna get it instead of him. I just think that we're taking a big chance trying to croak a guy right in the hospital. What do you mean, trying? Squeeze his upper arm, and I'll show you how to get in a vein slicker than a sawbones can. Manny, wait. Somebody's coming. Who are you and what are you doing here? We're just a couple of friends of Bruce. Heard he was sick and came to see if there was anything we could do. By the way, Doc, what's happened to the kid? I'm not quite sure. Yet. In other words, you ain't made a diagnosis, eh, Doc? Not one that completely satisfies me. Well, I guess we'd better be going along. What's your hurry? I don't get you, Doc. Something tells me you've been on this case longer than I have. I told you, we just came to see the kid. We heard he was sick. And you wanted to make sure he didn't recover. I don't know what you're talking about. That hypodermic you're holding, is that your calling card for the sick? You're a smart guy, Morgan, but too smart for your own health. You'd like to know what's in this syringe, wouldn't you, Morgan? I could guess, and not be too far wrong. You won't have to guess. It's heroin, and a dose big enough to kill even a hophead. Would you like to give it to your patient? Let's get out of here. You're talking crazy, Manny. That's for mentioning my name. You shouldn't have hit me that way, Manny. I told you not to mention my name. You probably know that the name Manny was mentioned once before, in connection with the theft of narcotics from my office. I'm getting out of here. No, you don't. Not until we watch the doc give this hypo to Grayson. Go ahead, pick up the hypo, Morgan. You're gonna do a little medical work, under my direction. If you think I'd give that injection to Grayson, you're out of your mind. You're hopped up, Manny. I'm getting out. Don't move. I'm not being pulled in on no murder rap. You're crazy, Manny. Don't shoot. Don't touch him, Morgan. He's seriously wounded. He'll die if he doesn't get immediate attention. Just let him die. He knows too much, and so do you, Morgan. You can't get away with this, Manny. That shot you fired has been heard all over the hospital. Don't worry about me, Morgan. What I have to do will only take a couple more minutes. Now pick up that syringe and give it to Grayson, in the vein. How do I know you won't use that gun on me after I give this to Grayson? You don't, Doc, but it's a chance you got to take. Meanwhile, you're to go over to City Hospital and meet Mel Presser, the narcotics agent. He wants a 24-hour watch on a patient there. Right, Captain? Any other instructions? Follow whatever orders Presser gives you. He thinks the patient may be a key lead in breaking up a dope ring. And at the hospital, no, Mr. Presser, the policeman hasn't arrived yet. Send him up when he does. I'll be in Grayson's room. Apparently hopped up himself, Manny, the dope peddler, orders Rex Morgan to administer a fatal dose of narcotic to the prostrate Bruce Grayson. Quit stalling, Morgan. Give it. You know it'll kill him if I do. You catch on quick, Sawbones. I said don't stall. Don't pull any cute tricks. Give him all that's in that syringe. That's a good doc. Make sure you don't inject any air bubbles. Now hurry up. I ain't got all night. Ah! You made me nervous, Manny. My hand slipped. By squirting the drug-filled syringe into Manny's eye, then knocking him down, Rex Morgan momentarily disarms the hopped-up dope peddler. I'll get you for that, Morgan. Ah! Something's wrong in Grayson's room. I heard what sounded like a shot. Is Dr. Morgan with Grayson? Yes, but 2 other men are also visiting there. That was a shot. Get back. Someone in there is armed. Are you all right, Dr. Morgan? Yes, and so is this character on the floor, unless he has a fractured jaw. But this one is in bad shape. Come on, get up. You're going on a little trip. Search him before you take him down to headquarters. Is this what you're looking for, Mr. Presser? That looks like it. Exhibit A, about all we need to put Manny in a cage for a long time. Are we going to be able to pin a murder rap on Manny, Dr. Morgan? Fortunately for him, his accomplice is going to live. Look, I'll go down to headquarters with you, but I got to have a lift. You got to let me have one of those capsules. You've got to do some talking first. A lot of talking. I'll tell you anything you want to know. Anything. But I gotta have a hypo. I gotta. Take him down to headquarters. I'll be down in a little while. I need a hypo. My insides feel like they're being torn apart. Are most of those peddlers addicts themselves, Mr. Presser? A good many are. And when they are, it makes my job much easier. They'll tell anything. They'll do anything for their shot. How about Bruce Grayson? Can I talk to him now? As soon as he wakens. And I don't suppose his story will sound a bit prettier than that of any other unfortunate who becomes a drug addict. And later, the nurse told me that Bruce is awake, Mr. Presser, so you'll be able to talk to him. That's fine. There are certain questions I must ask him. It's hard to understand how a basically fine boy like Grayson can become a dope addict. How he got started is difficult to understand. But once started, anyone can become addicted. Few people realize that. Too many people have the idea that addiction is only something that can happen to somebody else. How do you feel, Bruce? All right, I guess. Mr. Presser, the federal narcotics agent, is here. He wants to talk to you. I'll talk to him, Dr. Morgan. Fine, I'll leave the 2 of you alone. Just a minute, Dr. Morgan. Yes, Bruce? Does Louise know about all of this? Yes, it was through her that we found you unconscious. You might not be alive now if it hadn't been for Louise. And it would be better if I weren't. Would it be better for Louise, Bruce? Yes, because I'm no good. No good! Even as I lie here, knowing what misery I've put her through, I can think of only one thing, that I need a lift. I need a shot. Look, Dr. Morgan, I'll talk to the narcotics agent, but I've got to have a shot first. All right, Bruce. Hurry, Dr. Morgan. Please, I'm beginning to tear apart inside. Take it easy, Grayson. The doctor is going to give you as much help as he can, but in spite of it, the next couple weeks are going to be rough. How did a nice kid like you start using the stuff anyway? I was a wise guy. I thought I could try anything once. Oh. More minutes of agony follow until the narcotic takes effect. And then... How do you feel now, Bruce? Much better. Much, much better. Mr. Presser has agreed to let me treat you for your drug addiction here at City Hospital, Bruce, rather than have you sent to the federal institution. Providing you cooperate fully with Dr. Morgan. The next 10 days are going to be the toughest you've ever faced in your life. I'm going to put you on a drug withdrawal program. Just what is that, Dr. Morgan? Each day, you will get smaller and smaller doses of narcotic. At the end of 10 days, you will get none. During the time that you're on the drug withdrawal program, you will be virtually a prisoner in this hospital, Bruce. But why, Dr. Morgan? I'm willing to cooperate. You are at this moment, while your body is not craving the drug. But when you need a shot, you'll do anything to get it. I suppose you're right. You will have no visitors except the ones that I permit you to have. You'll learn to hate me more than anyone in this world. But believe me, everything I do will be for your good. There's one question I want you to answer, Bruce. Were you with Manny when he stole the narcotics tablets from Dr. Morgan's office? Yes. How did he talk you into doing anything like that? He said his supply was low. He wanted me to help him get some narcotics to tide him over a few days, and I needed a shot bad. I found out later that it was just his way of showing me that I had to always depend on him for capsules. That shot you gave me, Dr. Morgan, it couldn't have been too strong. It's worn off already. It wasn't as large a dose of narcotic as you've been taking yourself, Bruce. Will I be getting another one before long? Not for 2 hours yet. 2 hours? I can't wait that long. You've got to, Bruce. The program I've started cannot be altered. You will be given a dose of narcotics at specified intervals, Bruce. The program cannot be changed. But you've got to give me more relief than that. I warned you that these 10 days will not be easy. I know that, but I can only take so much of this agony. Brace up, kid. The doctor knows what's best for you. Please, Dr. Morgan, can't you give me some bigger doses just today? I promise I'll do it just as you say tomorrow. Try to take this drug withdrawal program as I've planned it, Bruce. It can't be done any other way. I can't do it. You've got to give me larger doses. I'm only human. Yes, you are only human. That's why it can't be done any other way. There are visitors for Mr. Grayson, a Miss Neal and her father. Have them wait a few minutes. Would you want to see Louise, Bruce? Of course, but you'll have to give me a hypo first. My whole body's shaking. You're not going to have another hypo for 2 hours. You're trying to torture me. I can't take it. You're trying to get even with me because I slugged you when Manny and I robbed your office. That's it, isn't it? No, Bruce, that isn't it. I'm getting out of here. Bruce, come back here. You're trying to torture me. I've got to get out. Bruce! What's wrong, Bruce? What are you running from? You're working with them. You're all against me. He's headed for the roof. There's no escape for Bruce from the roof. Bruce! Bruce, don't! Bruce, come away from there. Don't, Louise. We'll only frighten him more if we approach. You're sick, Bruce. You need help. Let me help you. Don't try to kid me, Dr. Morgan. I'm on to you. All of you! Nobody's getting me, do you hear? Nobody! What's wrong, Bruce? Do you feel sick? I'm all right. Just stay away from me. Bruce, watch out! Get away from me, Dr. Morgan. Don't come any closer. Let me help you, Bruce. You'd like to take me back so that you can torture me. Isn't that it? Only someone who's sick can think that, Bruce. You almost slipped off, Bruce. Did that worry you, Dr. Morgan? Were you afraid you might miss the chance to get me back into the horror chamber? Please, Bruce, let Dr. Morgan help you. No, Louise. He doesn't want to help me. And neither do you. I love you, darling, and you know it. Such pretty words. Did you hear those pretty words, Coach? They must make you awfully happy. I can't help how my daughter feels, Bruce. But I do know that you are not worth 1 minute of her thoughts. In the last few months, you've done nothing but bring grief into her life. You're not worth saving, Bruce. You're no good. Everything he said is the truth, Louise. No, darling. Bruce! Dr. Morgan, he's falling! Ah! Oh! go. You can't hold me and torture me. I'll get away. I'll get away. You've got to understand, Bruce. We're trying to help you. Now let us take you back to your hospital room. Later. You'll feel better in a few minutes, Bruce. Bruce acted like a madman, Rex. What's happened to him? He's developed a psychosis, which we occasionally see following the withdrawal of narcotics. Do many addicts develop a psychosis, Dr. Morgan? Any addict can become psychotic if the drug is withheld. Many vicious crimes are a result of addicts who need money to buy their drugs from peddlers. That's true. They'll steal, kill, do anything to get their drug when their bodies cry for it. Does the addict get a thrill from taking a narcotic? Hardly. But that's the peddler's sales pitch to the gullible, unsuspecting victim. When will I be able to see Bruce, Dr. Morgan? Not for at least a week, Louise. Well, if there's anything we can do for the boy, let us know, Rex. Nothing for the present, Bill. I'll see you later. We're having some trouble with Mr. Grayson, Dr. Morgan. Will you come to the floor right away? Mr. Grayson was quiet for a while, Dr. Morgan, but he's become very restless again. I have 2 orderlies staying with him. Please, let me out, Dr. Morgan. I can't take it any longer. You've got to take it, Bruce, because at this point, you have no choice. You're going to get medication at specific times, Bruce. The medicine will not keep you completely free of discomfort, but it will help. You can't keep me cooped up like a criminal. As a narcotics addict, you're no more reliable. But I'll give you my word. I'll do exactly as you say, Dr. Morgan. Don't think that what I say now is cruel, Bruce. The truth is that you haven't the ability to keep a promise anymore. You don't have control over what's right and wrong. Narcotics have control over you. Look, Dr. Morgan, I'm going to do everything you say, but please, won't you let me have a shot now? No, Bruce, not until you're scheduled for one. Then I want my clothes. I need a breath of fresh air. You're not permitted to leave the floor. Please discharge me, doctor. I will not bother you again. Where would you go, Bruce? To Manny? He's in jail. Rob another doctor or a druggist? No, Bruce. Your only friends are here. Meanwhile, you haven't touched a bit of your food, Louise. I'm just not hungry, Dad. Worried about Bruce? Then everything that's happened today hasn't changed how you feel about him? No, I'm afraid not. For the addict, nothing in life is worthwhile anymore except the narcotic. Get out of here. I don't want to see you or anyone unless you bring me a shot. Isn't it a shame? He was such a fine athlete. And as his body again learns to live without the drug, each minute becomes an hour. You like to see me suffer, don't you, Dr. Morgan? The next few days will be the roughest you've ever faced, and each hour an eternity. Answer me, Louise. Are you going to desert me too? Until the last day comes. Wake up, Bruce. Don't you know what day this is? Is any day different from another? When the worst of the nightmare is over. You're 2 weeks in today, Bruce. You've won your fight. Hello, darling. This isn't just another one of those dreams. It is you, Louise. Of course, Bruce. You mean you really wanted to see me? Oh, yes, darling. Oh, it seemed like years since I've seen you, Louise. Have these 2 weeks been horrible, Bruce? They've been a nightmare. But now I feel better mentally and physically than I have for months. Dr. Morgan says you'll be able to go home in a few days. Home? I don't have a home, Louise. I don't have anything. May we come in? Yes, come in, Dr. Morgan. Coach, how are you, son? Fine, thanks to Dr. Morgan, and you, and Louise. By the way, Louise, have you told Bruce he'll be leaving the hospital in a few days? Yes, but I haven't mentioned Dad's suggestion yet. Louise and I have an awfully big house for just 2 people, Bruce. I was wondering if you'd consider making your home with us. I don't know what to say, Coach. Just say yes, darling. And with Bruce Grayson's yes, the last of his chains are broken. The torment of his slavery is over. He is one of the lucky ones, one of the pitifully few who escape the hideous bondage of dope. Don't let it happen to you.